Thank you, Brian. And I also want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who are here, especially the members of St. Joseph and Imperial who are here today, throughout the day, as well as West County Assembly of God. I think they arrive at 1 o'clock, but they all take the second half of the day as well. So special thanks to them. And also, our thoughts are with St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish, who is out in St. Peter's right now. Each and every one of you are the ones who are making the 40 Days for Life campaign happen. Because we can sit back and organize in the office, but it's the people, the prayer volunteers who come to the sidewalk who really make it happen. Through prayer and fasting, peaceful vigil, and grassroots community outreach, all for the goal of ending abortion in the local community. Make no mistake about it, this business of being pro-life is not an easy one. By taking a stand for life, a stance that upholds the dignity of women and their precious children, we can be sure that the culture of death will do its best to shove us to the side. Such a culture cannot afford to have people like each and every one of you, who are courageous enough to expose the evil that abortion wreaks on women, men, and children. It is important to be prepared to meet confrontation with peaceful, loving, and uncompromising truth. It is good practice to recall why we believe what we do, to consider why we fight for the dignity of every human life, why we pray daily here at the abortion facility, and why we sidewalk counsel with love and joy to the dismay of our blue-bibbed friends on the other side of the fence. What makes us pro-life? Well, to be pro-life is to be pro-women. Contrary to the vociferous outcries of the pro-choice crowd, who proclaim that we do not allow women to control their own bodies, that we hurl Christian hate down their throats, that we force our personal views on others, and other such nonsense. We believe that we are standing up for the most basic human right of all, the right to life. The right to life is a human right that is under attack from the abortion industry, and which demands our lawful and charitable protection, especially the protection of those who are most vulnerable in our society. We have a duty to protect these and we will not be satisfied until they receive the care and support they deserve. An abortion kills a child, the youngest, most tender member of our society. The pro-choice faction is in denial. After all, if terminating a pregnancy means terminating the life of an innocent human person without their consent, this would be the most violent of crimes. These children would be protected under the law, if the law were to recognize them as such. No, if that unborn child is a human person protected under the law, then abortion loses all grounds for legality. That is why we hear abortion advocates scramble to arbitrarily choose a point along the development of a human being as the point at which they become a person. The heartbeat, the brainwave, consciousness, etc. But what does the science tell us? Again and again, with flawless consistency, the science shows that a new, unique human organism begins at conception. This diminutive human being contains all the genetic ingredients it needs, and it promptly initiates its own trajectory of growth and development. All the child requires to continue to survive is nourishment and shelter from its mother, just as a newborn infant requires constant care and vigilance from its parents. Naive are the naysayers who charge us with blind ideology, claiming that we assign personhood based on our religious convictions alone. Science and faith walk hand in hand in perfect harmony, since God is the Father of both. In foolish rejection of the teachings of science, some pro-choicers desperately maintain that the issue of when life begins will never be settled, that we will debate the matter until Judgment Day and trumpet sounds. Such stubbornness would rather risk the possibility of millions upon millions of killings for the sake of keeping the status quo. But we know better. We know that life begins at conception, and do not just reckon so, or simply believe so out of blind religious zeal. Unfortunately, though the child has the most to lose from the terror of abortion, the mother suffers in ways unimaginable. The pro-choice rabble, in their ever-increasing desperation to find excuses, proposes that abortion ought to be an available choice for women. Ironically, the vast majority of pro-choicers readily admit that abortion is not an ideal choice for women, that it ought to be a sort of last resort. They even throw up their hands and profess that they themselves would never have an abortion, but that others ought to have the right to choose an abortion if they desire it. Such perversion of human rights has never before been seen. A woman does not have the right to kill her innocent child, any more than a man has a right to kill another innocent man. No matter how the child was conceived, it is entitled to its life until natural death sees it depart this world for the next. Indeed, to even think of making abortion an option for women is an insult to their dignity and a threat to their physical, emotional, and psychological health. We have all heard story after story about the horrors of an abortion procedure, how it violates a woman's body and wrecks her hormone balance and her general physical state of being. One ought not to have a firm position on the issue of abortion without first investigating what an abortion actually does to a woman's body. Pro-lifers do not deal out such wanton death and destruction. Instead, we work to offer women loving and healthy alternatives to abortion. We offer support to women who need it. We work to preserve families and the elderly. We strive to bring healing when all hope seems lost. And most of all, we work to save lives. We are not here to condemn. We are not here to speak only of the death and despair hatched by abortion. There is a time and a place for these things. Instead, we must remember what we are. We are pro-life, and we defend the dignity of every human life from natural conception until natural death. That is why we stand here today. That is why we must go forward, weeding out any personal pride, stubborn self-righteousness, or any other hindrances to our mission of ending abortion that we can all find to varying degrees in each of our hearts. Free from these burdens, let us set out on the second half of our campaign with a renewed sense of purpose. May our prayers never waver and our courage never falter. May God grant us the patience that is born of perseverance, and may He bless our vigil of peace and prayer. I fervently pray that this 40 days campaign is the last one that our great city will require. But let it be known that we will not go away until the scourge of abortion is removed from our midst. Thank you.